We'll be going over writing linear inequalities. So linear inequalities, just like linear equations, are usually written in slope-intercept form. That's why equals mx plus b, or in our case, since it's a linear inequality, it'll be one of the inequality symbols, mx plus b. So once again, just like yesterday's yesterday's second assignment, this means that in order to write the inequality, we need to find two things. We need the slope, rise over run, and the y-intercept. And then we'll just account for the shading and the type of line through the symbol. And so we find the slope from this line. This is just an equation. We can use these points here. Looks like it runs 2, or rises 2 and runs 1. 2 over 1 gives us 2 for the slope. And the y-intercept, the b, is wherever it crosses the y-axis, which it does at the number 3. So that makes our equation y equals 2x plus 3. So it's extremely similar to writing these linear inequalities. This is the same line with the same points, and so our slope is still going to be 2 over 1, which is 2. Our y-intercept is 3. And then here, we notice that since it's a dotted line, that means it's either going to be less than or greater than, and since all the shading is below the line, it's going to be less than. So this one is going to be y is less than mx plus b, giving us y is less than 2x plus 3. And so another shortcut, same shortcut, when the shaded region is above the line, the inequality will be greater. So that means it's either going to be greater than or equal to, right? This one right here is if it's dotted and above, and this one right here is if it's solid and above. And then when the shaded region is below, it's going to be less than. So it'll be either less than with a dotted line and below, or it'll be a solid line and below. And so let's go through a couple quick examples. Here we find our slope again. We can use these points here. It looks like we rise 3, we run 1, giving us a slope of 3, crosses the y-axis at the number 1. And since the shading is below and it is dotted, that means it is going to be the less than symbol. So that makes our inequality y is less than 3x plus 1. The slope for this one, we have a point here, right? So this is actually the same line, and so it's going to be our same slope, and it's going to be the same y-intercept, but this time it's shaded above, and it's dotted, so that's going to give us the greater than symbol. So y is greater than 3x plus 1. And so you'll note the following examples are the same line, except one is shaded above and one is shaded below. So once we find the slope of one, we know the slope of the other. So the slope for this one has a bunch of points we could use. It looks like it rises 1, runs -1. So that's -1, and it crosses the y-axis also at the number 1. So that means this one, we have y, we have -1x plus 1 for mx plus b. And since it's shaded above and it's solid, that's going to make it greater than or equal to. That means this one here, if it's the same line, we have y -1x plus 1, but this time it's shaded below and it's solid, it's going to be less than or equal to. Last two, we have this point here and this point here. It looks like that rises 3, runs 2, and then crosses the y-axis at 0. And since this is shaded below, we know it's going to be either less than or equal to, but since it's a dotted line, it will be less than. So that makes our equation y is less than 3 over 2x plus 0, which makes this one here, if we have the same slope, the same y-intercept. This time it's shaded above and it's dotted, which is going to give us a greater than. So we have y is greater than 3 over 2x plus 0. Thank you for listening.